so we could change it to she was a teacher. And has she written any other books? No? Marco?
In the reading sequence we've just watched, you asked the students to tell you what they knew about J.K. Rowling, who is the subject of the reading text, long before they actually got to the reading. Why did you do that?
Well, first of all, to generate some interest in the topic that they were reading, and to give them their own input into the task, to share their knowledge and experience of the topic. And for any students who might not know anything about J.K. Rowling, they would benefit from the collective information that we put on the board. And also, afterwards, it served as a second reading task when we went back and checked for the information, so they were reading for detail. So it had two purposes, really.
Is this something you always do in reading lessons, or was this rather special?
To begin with, I always try to generate interest in the topic of the reading, whether it be through the method I used just then, or through vocabulary, or pictures, or video, or songs. They have to have some interest in the topic. They've got to be motivated to read. And it stops them from just reading a text cold as well. So they have some background information about that topic.
The next thing you did is you got them just to try and find out what the caption to the text meant. Why did you give them that reading task?
I wanted them to read to get the general idea of the text, to read for gist. And I set them a task to give them a purpose to read and to get the gist from the reading text. If I hadn't set a question or asked them to predict what the title meant and then check their predictions, then they'd just be reading aimlessly and perhaps getting hung up on all the individual words and what each sentence means. So I just wanted them to read quickly through to get the general idea of the text, which is a valuable skill to have. We read for gist all the time. We're skimming through different texts, and they need to be able to learn to do that in a foreign language.
And what did you do after the sequence that we've just watched?
After the sequence, we drew out some language from the reading text, which was the past perfect. We highlighted different sentences from the text and looked at them in context and tried to understand how we use the past perfect tense.
And do you always do that? Do you always try and get language out of the text like that?
I often try to do that. If I want to teach some language, it's always useful to see the language in context first. I don't always do it, but it's a good method of teaching language, I feel.